I never thought I'd be one of those guys who gets blindsided like this. Everything seemed fine with Lisa, my wife, or at least that's what I thought. We'd been together for 7 years, and honestly, I thought we had a good thing going. She was the kind of woman who always looked perfect, sharp dresses, makeup on point, the kind of girl you'd see on a magazine cover. She came off as confident, ambitious, a little bitchy sometimes, but I liked that about her. She knew what she wanted and she wasn't afraid to tell you exactly how she felt. But lately, something felt different. It's subtle, I admit, little things. She'd come home later than usual, citing stupid meetings with her boss, Mark. She'd wear new perfume I didn't recognize, and she was more on edge, snapping at me over nothing. I brushed it off, thinking maybe she was just stressed at work. Hell, I even joked about her boss being a creep, but she'd roll her eyes and tell me I was paranoid. She'd lie about things too, a little white lie here or there, but I figured everyone does that sometimes. Still, I started noticing her phone more often, her hiding it when I came near, deleting texts, and that weird, secretive way she'd duck into the bedroom after I got home, like she was trying to hide something. The biggest clue was her pregnancy excuse. She told me she was pregnant about 3 months ago. It was a bit of a shock because we weren't really planning on having kids yet, but I was happy, excited even. I bought into her lies, believed her, and we started planning for the baby. She even started acting more maternal, buying little gifts for the baby and talking about our future. But I noticed she was also more distant during that time, colder in bed, less intimate. Honestly, I chalked it up to her feeling overwhelmed or scared. Maybe I was just overthinking everything. Then, things got really strange. About a week ago, I found her phone lying on the couch with a text message that stopped me cold. It was from some guy named Steve, and it simply said, "Can't wait to see you tonight, I miss you." My stomach turned. I almost didn't want to believe it at first, but I looked at the messages and found more texts that hinted they'd been seeing each other for a while, probably since she lied about the pregnancy. I know I should have confronted her then, but I didn't. I was just stunned. I sat there, staring at her phone, feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. Over the next few days, I watched her more closely. She became even more distant, more secretive. She'd get messages on her email, on her social media, ways to hide her tracks better. One night, I caught her sneaking her phone out of her purse and deleting a message right in front of me. That was the moment I knew I had to confront her. I took a deep breath and decided I wouldn't let her brush this off or lie her way out. I was done being played for a fool. So I waited for the right moment, which came sooner than I expected, because that same night I overheard her talking on the phone with someone. She was whispering, and I caught enough to realize she wasn't alone. I quietly slipped into the bedroom, pulled out my phone, and recorded her. When she hung up, I told her I knew everything about the affair, the lies, the pregnancy, everything. Her reaction. She looked at me like I'd just kicked her in the face, and then she started with the usual denials, accusations, saying I was crazy, that she was just talking and it meant nothing. I felt like my world was crashing down around me. How could she do this? How could she cheat on me during what should have been the happiest time of our lives? I was furious, heartbroken, and honestly confused. I'd never felt this betrayed before. It was like she had been planning this behind my back the whole time, and I was just too blind to see it. I knew I needed to think, to process what this meant for us, but right then, I just felt numb. I kept replaying everything, her lies, her sneaking around, her fake pregnancy, and that sense of betrayal just kept growing. I didn't know how I was going to fix this, or if I even could. All I knew was my wife, the woman I trusted, loved, and built my life with, had been lying to me the whole time. After I confronted her that night, Lisa's face twisted with anger and defensiveness. She looked at me like I was some kind of crazy stalker, but I didn't care. I told her I had the recordings, the messages, everything. That's when her bitchy side really came out. She started calling me paranoid, insecure, ridiculous. Said I was overreacting, that I was making a big deal out of nothing. She told me the pregnancy was real, that she was just stressed, and that Steve was just a coworker she'd been talking to about work stuff, nothing more. She even threw in the classic, "you're imagining things" line, like I was some kind of lunatic for even suspecting her. I wanted to believe her, I really did. I wanted to trust that she was telling the truth, but the evidence spoke for itself. I remember her snapping at me, calling me controlling, saying I didn't trust her, that I was being possessive. Honestly, I felt like I'd been punched in the gut all over again. Here I am, thinking I was doing the right thing, trying to be a good husband, supportive, understanding, and she's out there behind my back, lying and sneaking around. I felt so damn stupid for not seeing the signs earlier. Over the next couple of days, I tried to keep my cool, but inside I was boiling. Every time I looked at her, I saw this bitchy, manipulative side that I hadn't really noticed before. She was quick to turn things around, blame me for everything, accuse me of not trusting her, and make me feel guilty for even questioning her. Meanwhile, I kept digging, trying to get to the bottom of how long she'd been lying about the pregnancy, about her affair. I even checked her phone again, going through every message I could find. It was then I discovered the worst. She had been seeing Steve, her boss, for months, probably since just after she told me she was pregnant. That's when the full picture clicked into place. She lied about the pregnancy to throw me off, to keep me from suspecting anything. I felt furious, betrayed, and also incredibly stupid for not seeing it sooner. How could I have been so blind? I had trusted her with everything, and she'd been cheating on me the entire time. The pain was like a punch in the stomach. I could feel it physically. I decided I needed to confront her again, but this time I prepared myself. I wanted clarity, not just anger. I wanted to understand how she could be so heartless, so manipulative. That evening, I sat her down and told her I knew every detail about the affair, the lies, the pregnancy. Her face went pale, then she snapped back with the usual bitchy attitude, telling me I was overreacting, that I was crazy, that she never meant for it to happen, that it was just a mistake. She looked me dead in the eyes and said she was going to fix this, that she loved me, that she was sorry. Sorry. Sorry doesn't even begin to cover it. I could see the way she was trying to manipulate me, make me feel guilty for catching her. She kept insisting she'd end things with Steve, that it was just a fling, that she'd never hurt me on purpose. But I knew better. I could see through her bullshit. Inside, I was shattered. I felt like I'd lost my wife, my trust, and maybe even a part of myself. I didn't want to believe her anymore. I wanted her to understand that she'd crossed a line I never thought she'd cross. That night, I lay in bed alone, staring at the ceiling, trying to process what I'd just heard, what I'd just learned. My mind was racing. I felt betrayed, angry, and exhausted all at once. It was like I was caught in some terrible nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I thought about all the years we'd spent together, the plans we made, the future we painted, and how suddenly it all felt meaningless. I realized I was at a crossroads. I could forgive her, maybe, or I could walk away. But no matter what, I knew life would never be the same. Not after this. I kept asking myself how she could do this, how she could lie to my face about a pregnancy, then sneak around with her boss. It was so calculated, so cold. And I guess that's the thing that hurts the most. The betrayal wasn't just about the sex or the affair. It was about the fact that she'd lied so convincingly, so effortlessly, making me doubt everything I thought I knew about her. I thought I was just another guy she used and tossed aside when she found something better. And honestly, I don't even know if I'll ever fully heal from this. Part of me still hopes she'll come back, that she'll realize what she lost, but another part just wants to cut her out of my life for good. The days that followed were a blur of confusion and rage. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, and I kept replaying everything in my head, every lie, every sign I missed. I also started noticing all the little things she did that just confirmed what I already knew. She became even more defensive, more bitchy, snapping at me over tiny things. The way she threw around her words, trying to make me feel like I was the crazy one for suspecting her, just made me more furious. It was like she was trying to gaslight me, convince herself that her lies were justified, that she hadn't screwed up so badly. Honestly, I was furious with her, but underneath that, I was deeply hurt. I kept thinking about what this meant for us, for our future. She had lied about being pregnant, lied about her fidelity, lied about everything. The trust I had in her, gone. I mean, I get it, people make mistakes, but this was deliberate. She planned to keep this affair secret, maybe even manipulate me into thinking she was innocent. And that realization hurt worse than the betrayal itself. It wasn't just about the affair, it was about how she had lied, manipulated, and played me for a fool. I knew I had to do something. I couldn't just sit there and let her keep spinning her web of lies. So, I decided to gather evidence, just in case I needed it. I started secretly recording her when I could, saving screenshots of her messages, and even installing a small app on her phone to track her whereabouts. I wasn't proud of it, but I needed to confirm everything. The more I found out, the more clear it became. She had been cheating on me with Steve since well before she told me she was pregnant. She'd been lying about the pregnancy for months, probably to cover up the affair, to keep me from suspecting anything. It was a carefully crafted cover story, and I could see that now. One night I decided I'd had enough of her lies. I told her I knew the truth, all of it. She looked stunned for a moment, then her bitchy attitude kicked in again. She told me I was crazy, that I was making things up, that I was paranoid. I reminded her about the recordings, the messages, the location data. I told her I wasn't going to be played anymore, that I was done. That's when she started crying, fake tears of course, and begging me not to ruin everything because she still loved me. Said she made a mistake, that it was just sex, that she'd never meant for it to happen. But I didn't buy her tears. I could see through her entire act. The love, the remorse, it was all a bunch of bullshit she was trying to manipulate me with. I told her she had two choices: end it with Steve and be honest with me, or I was done. I was tired of her lies, tired of feeling like some fool who got played. I told her I wanted her out of the house until she could figure out what she really wanted, me or her stupid affair. She threw a huge fit, calling me controlling and insecure, trying to make me feel guilty for catching her, but I wasn't having it. I just wanted the truth, and I wanted her to understand that I wasn't going to be anyone's damn fool anymore. The emotional toll was enormous. I was angry, yes, but also numb. Part of me was devastated that I'd trusted her, that I'd believed we had a future. I kept thinking about all those nights when she would lie in my arms, pretending to be happy, while she was sneaking around behind my back. It was like I'd been living in some kind of nightmare that I couldn't wake up from. I'd always thought I was a decent guy, predictable, straightforward. And yet this woman, the one I loved, had been lying to my face for months. I kept asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I could have been so blind. I realized I was at a crossroads now. I could try to fix this, or I could cut her out completely. Honestly, part of me wanted to fight for us, to somehow save what was left of the marriage, but another part just wanted to walk away, wipe my hands of her and this mess. I knew I needed to give myself some space, think about what I really wanted. I couldn't keep living in this chaos, this emotional hell. So I told her I was done talking for now and that she needed to leave. I needed to get some distance, clear my head, and figure out my next move. This whole thing has taught me a lot about trust, about betrayal, about how fragile all those things are. I never thought I'd be the guy to get cheated on like this, especially not by someone I thought I knew so well. The pain is still fresh, but I know I have to move forward. I just hope somehow I come out of this stronger. Because right now I feel broken, like my life has been turned upside down. And honestly, I don't even recognize the person I am anymore. The days after she left were some of the hardest I've ever experienced. The house felt empty, not just physically, but emotionally. Every corner, every piece of furniture seemed to whisper reminders of her. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, staring at the ceiling, wondering how I could have missed all the signs, how I could have been so blind to her deception. It's one thing to suspect your wife is cheating, but it's another entirely to find out she's been lying about being pregnant, sneaking around with her boss, and manipulating everyone around her. That realization hit me like a freight train, and I was left with this overwhelming mixture of anger, sadness, and a kind of numb acceptance. I knew I couldn't just sit around feeling sorry for myself. I had to make a decision about what to do next. Part of me wanted to confront her again, to demand some kind of genuine explanation, but I also knew that wouldn't get me anywhere. She'd gone into full denial mode, and honestly, I didn't trust a word she said anymore. I'd done some digging, more than I'd like to admit, and I uncovered even more evidence of her affair. Her texts, her emails, her secret social media accounts, it was all there. She'd been lying to me for months, and I realized she'd done a damn good job hiding it until I found the cracks in her story. That's when I decided I needed to seek some closure for myself. I met with a divorce lawyer, and we discussed everything I had on her. I wanted to make sure I was protected financially and emotionally, because I knew this wasn't going to be easy. I also reached out to a counselor, not for her, but for myself. I needed someone to help me process everything, to keep me grounded. The shock, the betrayal, the heartbreak, it was like I'd been hit by a truck. I never thought I'd be here, questioning everything I believed in. One day, out of nowhere, I got a message from her. It was a simple text: "We need to talk." My stomach clenched, but I knew I shouldn't get my hopes up. I didn't trust her anymore. Still, I responded, telling her I was willing to listen, but I wasn't going to be played again. She came over the next night, looking more bitchy and manipulative than ever. Her eyes were red from crying, but her attitude was still sharp. She tried to guilt-trip me, saying she was sorry, that she loved me, that she was just weak. I stared at her, feeling this mixture of disgust and sadness. I told her I didn't want to hear her fake apologies anymore. If she truly loved me, she'd have told the truth from the start, not dragged me through months of lies and deception. She kept insisting she wanted to fix things, that she'd end her affair with Steve and make everything right. But I wasn't buying it. I knew she was lying again. She was just trying to manipulate me into staying. I told her I needed space, that I wasn't ready to make decisions right then, but I wasn't going to keep pretending everything was okay. I asked her to leave, and she stormed out, calling me controlling and cold. Honestly, I didn't care. I was exhausted, emotionally drained, and at the point where I knew I couldn't keep giving her chances to lie to me. She had burned that bridge years ago. That night, I stayed up thinking about everything. I wondered if I'd ever truly heal from this betrayal. I wondered if I'd ever trust again. I kept going back to that moment when I found her in our bed with her boss. That image burned into my mind. I never thought she'd do something so cruel, so manipulative. I always believed in her, in us. Now I was left with nothing but questions and a deep sense of loss. I realized now that I'd ignored so many signs because I wanted to believe she was perfect, that she loved me. But the truth is, people can hide a lot behind a pretty smile and sharp words. Looking back, I see how naive I was. I fought so hard to hold on to what we had, thinking maybe love could fix everything. But love isn't enough when someone is fundamentally dishonest. I learned that the hard way. The betrayal shattered my trust, and I don't think I'll ever fully recover it. I also learned that some people are just good at pretending to be something they're not, and once that mask comes off, it's impossible to put it back on. Now I'm trying to pick up the pieces, figuring out whether I want to rebuild or just move on. Honestly, it's too soon to say. Every time I think I have a plan, I get hit with another wave of pain or anger. But I know one thing: I deserve better than someone who lies to me, cheats on me, and tears my life apart just to satisfy her own selfish needs. I'll admit, I still have feelings for her. Part of me still hopes she'll come clean, be honest, and maybe, just maybe, apologize for all the pain she caused. But deep down, I know that isn't likely. So I'm taking it one day at a time. I'm working on healing, on learning to trust myself again. And I want to tell anyone who's going through this, yeah, it hurts like hell. Yes, it feels like your world is crumbling, but you're stronger than you think. You'll survive, and eventually you'll find a way to move forward. Just don't let anyone make you feel small or guilty for seeing the truth. Because in the end, honesty and respect are what really matter, and if they're gone, then maybe it's time to walk away. It's been a few weeks since she moved out, and honestly, I'm still trying to find my footing. Every morning I wake up, and for a split second I forget she's not here. Then the reality hits me like a punch in the chest all over again. I catch myself staring at her side of the bed, trying to understand how I didn't see this coming sooner. How someone I loved, trusted, and built a life with could turn out to be this manipulative, this selfish. The anger still lingers, but it's mixed with a profound sadness that I don't think will ever fully go away. I keep questioning myself, wondering if I missed the signs, if I could have done something differently, or if this was just her true nature all along. I've been talking to a lawyer, trying to figure out the logistics of divorce. I want her out of my life completely. I want to cut the ties, erase the betrayal, and move on. It's crazy how someone can go from being your everything to a stranger in such a short amount of time. I keep thinking about all the moments I thought were normal, her teasing, her sarcastic comments, her bitchy attitude, and now I realize they were all signs she was hiding something, that the woman I thought I knew was just a mask, a carefully crafted illusion. The hardest part has been the emotional roller coaster. One day I'm furious, ready to burn everything down. The next I'm just numb, staring at the wall, trying not to cry. I don't know if I'm more angry at her or at myself for trusting her so blindly. I keep replaying everything, the lies about the pregnancy, the affair, the way she used to smile at me like everything was perfect. It's like I'm trying to piece together a puzzle that's missing half the pieces. And no matter how much I try to rationalize it, the pain remains. One thing I've realized through all this is that I've got to focus on myself now. I've started working out again, trying to rebuild my strength, my confidence. I've been talking to friends. Some of them even saw her sneaking around or suspected something, but they didn't want to say anything because they didn't want to get involved. I get it now. It's easier not to get involved in someone else's mess, but I wish I'd known sooner. Maybe I could have caught her earlier, saved myself from this hell. I've also been reflecting on what I want in a future relationship. Honestly, I don't trust anyone right now, not women, not even myself. But I do want to believe that someday I'll find someone who's honest, who respects me, and who I can trust with my life. Right now, that seems like a distant dream, but I know I need to focus on healing first. Every time I hear a story about someone betrayed or cheated on, I think about how similar it is to my own experience, feeling completely ripped apart from the inside out. Sometimes I wonder if I should try to reconnect with Lisa or if I should just move on and forget about her altogether. Part of me still hopes she'll come back, that she'll realize what she lost, but I know deep down that's wishful thinking. She's shown her true colors now, and I don't see how she could fix what she broke. That knowledge hurts even more. Trust, once shattered, is so damn hard to rebuild. And that's for sure. I don't think I'll ever see her the same way again. I've learned that the key to moving forward is acceptance. Accepting that I was betrayed, that I was lied to, and that my life has changed forever. I won't pretend I'm okay because I'm not. But I also won't let this define me. I've got to pick up the pieces and figure out who I am now without her. I'm trying to see the lessons in all this chaos. That honesty and integrity matter more than anything, and that no amount of love can fix someone who doesn't value it. I'm not perfect, and I've made mistakes too, but I refuse to be with someone who manipulates me, who cheats, who lies. So I'm focusing on my recovery, my healing. I'm learning to forgive myself for trusting her so blindly. And I'm starting to think about what kind of future I want. One that's honest, real, and built on respect. Because if I learned anything at all from this nightmare, it's that betrayal cuts deep, but it also teaches you who's truly worth fighting for. And I know now more than ever that I deserve someone who's honest with me, not someone who hides behind lies or manipulates their way through life. That's the lesson I'll carry forward, even if it still hurts like hell to do it. It's been a long, painful journey, and honestly, I don't know if I'll ever fully get over what happened. But I do know this: I've learned a lot about myself through all of this. I learned that trust is fragile and that people can hide their true selves beneath a perfect facade. I learned that betrayal cuts deep, but it also forces you to reevaluate what's truly important. I've realized that love isn't enough to sustain a relationship if there's deception and manipulation underneath. And I've come to understand that sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is walk away, no matter how much it hurts. Looking back, I wish I'd seen the signs earlier. I wish I'd asked more questions, trusted my instincts, and not turned a blind eye to the small things that added up. But I also forgive myself for that. Nobody's perfect, and sometimes people hide their true intentions so well that you don't see it until it's too late. What matters now is that I'm learning to rebuild from the ground up, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. I'm focusing on me, on figuring out what I want my life to look like without her in it. This experience has made me more cautious, more aware of the kind of person I want to be with. Someone who's honest, respectful, and who values trust as much as I do. I refuse to settle for anything less anymore. Because if there's one thing I've learned from her betrayal, it's that love without honesty is just a lie in disguise. And I refuse to live in a lie anymore. To anyone reading this who might be going through something similar, I want to say this: you're not alone. It's okay to feel broken, betrayed, and angry. Those feelings are valid, but don't let them define you. Take the time you need to heal, to process what happened, and to figure out what's best for you. Trust your instincts, they're more powerful than you think. And never forget your worth. You deserve someone who respects and values you, not someone who manipulates or lies to keep you under their control. Finally, I want to say that I'm slowly finding my way back to myself. It's a slow process, and there are days I feel like giving up. But I remind myself that I'm stronger than I thought. I've survived this, and I will continue to survive. Because life is too short to be trapped in betrayal and lies. I owe it to myself to keep moving forward, to keep trusting that better days will come, even if right now it feels like everything's fallen apart. So I walk away from her with no regrets. I've learned what I need to value in life: honesty, respect, and loyalty. And I know I'll find them again someday. Until then, I'll keep rebuilding, keep healing, and keep trusting that I'm worth more than the lies she told me. Because in the end, that's what this is all about: reclaiming my life, my dignity, and my happiness, one step at a time.